is because the cow is a creature that is satisfied with everything, or is a symbol of that. Okay? And I like that. I think there's a lot of truth to that. So maybe if you follow the Vedas or something like that, you can imagine yourself as breaking that cycle of birth and rebirth and being eventually attaining nirvana and being reborn as a cow. And at which point you're completely and totally satisfied, finally. Can't discount it, and I like it. The one part I don't like about it is the notion that the cycle of birth and life is so terrible that you have to break it. I don't think that's true. And Buddhism has a similar kind of thing where your goal is to break that cycle. That's nature's cycle. That's the universe's cycle. I think that cycle is very real. And I think, again, nature's cycle, the viewing of these cycles in their circular nature is what people have seen over thousands of years and have come to realize that reincarnation is a thing. But that's more about universal or planetary reincarnation. We're still on personal reincarnation, okay? And like I said, with personal reincarnation, it's very much grounded in the fact that you cannot experience unconsciousness. You cannot experience death. You cannot have any sensation about it, any perception about it. And the further you go away from consciousness, the faster time goes. And so this is how it leads into universal reincarnation, is that the faster the time goes, it doesn't matter that the Earth is 4 billion years old. Okay? It doesn't matter that humans have only been on Earth for a little less than 1 million years. It doesn't matter that you have only been around for 20, 30, 40 years. You cannot experience the vastness of the universe, the vastness of its time, in any way, shape, or form as an unconscious being. So once you die, regardless of how long things take to come back to that place where they were when you came into being, regardless of how long that takes, if it's 3 billion years, if it's 20 billion years, if it's 100 billion years, it doesn't matter. You will perceive that amount of time in an instant, and thus you are reincarnated. Okay? And that is the personal reincarnation, that perception of never being able to experience that lack of consciousness. And again, you can look at the goalposts on the other side, the boundary on the other side, and say, again, hyper consciousness, extreme trauma, things like that. And you are now experiencing time in this incredibly drawn out and difficult way. So that's the personal perception of reincarnation. And if you have any other logical argument, again, in those same lines, okay, maybe I would be interested in hearing it. But make sure that it makes a lot of sense before you just start sort of throwing stuff out there. So as far as the universal or planetary reincarnation. This is more, again, about looking at the outside of yourself, looking at the world, looking at nature, looking at the way things cycle. Okay? If you haven't come to see, observe, realize this yet, but many things in nature, if not all things in nature, have some sort of pattern, have some sort of situation where they come back to being what they were originally. And you can look at whatever granular level or macro level you want to look at. It will always go eventually from a linear thing to a spherical or circular thing. And we can just start rattling. We can just start rattling things off. The Earth's orbit. After about 1 year, the Earth comes around and it's back around at the same spot that it was. If you don't think that that has a circular nature to it, then again, you probably shouldn't even be listening to this, because I can't. If you're not at that level yet, then yeah, you need to go somewhere else. But at any rate, orbit, okay, planetary orbits, galaxies moving around, okay. They don't, again, stars, the pattern of exploding, reforming, exploding, reforming. That happens with stars. That happens with planets. On a smaller scale, the seasons. We go from summer to fall to winter to spring to summer again to fall to winter to spring. If you just shrink it down to one day, oh man, it's so hot out. Things were, to maybe a little kid, they might go, is it just going to keep getting hotter and we're just going to burn up? Well, as an experienced person that's been around for longer than a couple of years, that no, we're going through a cycle. It's going to start getting colder. Okay, that's a circle. Just the day-night cycle. You understand that by the time you're, 1 year old. Day, night. Now, I'm sure many of you who've had bad insomnia, some nights feel like they're never going to end. And you go through some kind of extreme trauma and trying to relax or trying to sleep or something like that. And in those times, it feels like night is, 12 hours of dark. It's been like days of dark. By the same token, if you've had an extremely hard day at work or hard week, month, year, and during that time you feel like your days are never going to end, but they are.